What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So I wanted to have a discussion with y'all and kind of see what y'all think should happen when it comes to Damian Priest and his cash in. Now, we did see Damian Priest and some of the members of Judgment Day kind of get into it with Gunther. And it seems as if they were somewhat teasing maybe Damian Priest going after Gunther's Intercontinental Championship potentially. I'm not sure. That's kind of what they seem to have been teasing on a Monday Night Raw, this past Monday Night Raw. But once again, that doesn't make a lick of sense because we would literally be back in a situation where we were with Austin Theory and him cashing in on a mid-card championship. Granted, Gunther's Intercontinental Championship run has been fantastic and he has made that belt seem very important. If to be honest with you, if he's given that type of aura to the Intercontinental Championship as if it's a world championship, as if it's the top championship on it's just in WWE, not even on Raw or SmackDown, just in WWE in general, with the matches he's been having and the streak that he has right now. You would think the Intercontinental Championship would be the top championship. Granted, we know it's not. So it seems like if they were potentially teasing something with that, but granted, I still think that doesn't make a lick of sense because once again, the Money in the Bank has been always built upon creating a new star to potentially be the new top guy of the respective brand, depending on who they decide to cash in on, right? That's always been the idea of it. And recently with Austin Theory and how they messed that up and him cashing in for the United States Championship, I would hate to see the same thing happen to Damian Priest. Honestly, I don't know what you do with him. I know people have come up with the speculation that maybe Drew does win the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth. He finally accomplishes what he's been trying to accomplish in his career, getting that very big win in front of a live audience, not in front of a empty crowd, but a live audience, and getting that moment for himself. But you could have maybe a situation where Judgment Day music hit or whatever, and then he ends up cashing in on an exhausted Drew McIntyre, and then Damian Priest ends up winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm not winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, but cashing in and winning the World Heavyweight Championship. I've seen people talk about that. That could possibly happen. I mean, it's a weird situation because you would have him cash in on another heel. So I don't know about that. Or maybe you have somehow Seth wins and then Damian Priest cashes in. Maybe Drew goes insane. I don't know, attacks Seth after the match, and then Damian Priest cashes in then and becomes champion. You could have that option as well. But the problem with that, and I think the bigger problem overall with Damian Priest right now is he doesn't have that momentum that he had, I want to say, after the whole Bad Bunny match he had last year at Backlash. He doesn't, like, you could tell the company was really high on Damian Priest, and it seemed like he had this momentum going, and then obviously him winning Money in the Bank, you're like, okay, they're really starting to push this guy, but it seems as if they kind of not stop pushing him, but he's not the most important thing, especially in Judgment Day. The most important thing, the most important person is obviously Rhea. Rhea is the most important person in Judgment Day. It's not even close. She's damn near the most popular person in WWE right now. So you can tell they kind of switched gears and really started pushing her even more. But with Damian, it seems like he's kind of just on the back burner. So you don't really get that sense of world champion from him, if that makes any sense. Not to say that he can't be one, and not to say that he doesn't deserve to be one, but I'm saying even though he's Money in the Bank briefcase holder, you never really get that feel like I could see him as world champion. They were doing something with him for a time when they were pushing him to kind of fit that mold, if that makes any sense. Because when I think of world champion or whatnot, I think, especially if you're in a group, you're in a heel group, and you have the briefcase. When I think of world champion, I think of someone that is going to delegate and run things, and he's gonna get shit done, whether it's, within the rules or whether it's outside of the rules. And in this situation, he's in the heel faction, and at one point it seemed like Damian Priest was getting that, I guess you could say, that rub, or the perceived notion of him being the leader, the guy. He has the briefcase. People follow his orders in a sense. But more or less, it became more about Rhea and the whole mommy gimmick than anything else. And at one point, it seems like they were challenging that with Rhea and Damian Priest kind of getting into it. So I'm like, maybe it's a power struggle, and you can kind of buy into that. Because when I think of him potentially cashing in, it makes sense if he's kind of like that leader role, or he has that leader type position, for him to have his lackeys or everyone around him to try to make sure that he does win and has a successful cash in. But you don't really get that. They've even tried to make it seem like there's no leaders in Judgment Day, but that's obviously, we know it's still damn near Rhea at this point. And right now, they have him more focused on the tag team titles, less than he should be. Well, he's more focused on the tag team titles, but at the same time, you would think he would be more focused on trying to win a world championship. I mean, at one point, that's what he was talking about a lot. But they focus more on the tag team aspect rather than the briefcase aspect, him wanting to be at the top of the card, him wanting to be at the top of the company. And that could have been something, I don't know if they're going to plan on doing that, but that could be a storyline beat where he's more focused on that than the tag titles. And that could create that dissension. Now, you would think they would be building up to that, and maybe they are. And maybe that happens at this year's WrestleMania. Maybe, I do think Finn and Damian are going to lose to R-Truth and whoever he tags with, most likely The Miz, for the titles. Maybe that can be something that they expound upon. But once again, they hadn't even really talked about it. He's just carrying the briefcase, but he doesn't really I haven't heard him say in a while, outside of Monday night, talking about an Intercontinental Championship and him having a briefcase, and Gunther's like, you gonna cash in on me? You know what I'm saying? Outside of that mention, he doesn't really talk about it too much. They've been kind of doing the Judgment Day, R-Truth funny stuff. They've been doing that lately. So they kind of strayed away from that. And I think it may be hurting Damian Priest in the long run. Because, once again, I know he has the briefcase, but he hasn't felt like a potential world champion because they haven't really been booking him to feel that way. Outside of the tag team titles, it seems like that's the only thing he really cares about, and being dominant, but not actually trying to cash in and win a world championship. Someone made a very great point. Seth is out there. He's, injured, or, not medically cleared. So does that mean he can't get cashed in on? Because he's not medically cleared? Is there some type of caveat where it's like, well, you can cash in on anyone at any time, but they got to be medically cleared? How does that make sense? Someone pointed that out. There's been a few instances where that was the case, where he had the perfect opportunity to cash in and he didn't. And then the times he did, Drew was involved, and I think that could be an interesting story. I thought they were going to really play up, and maybe they should. Maybe he is the reason why Drew doesn't, win the match. Play that up too. I don't know. It's just like they kind of have Damian Priest in limbo with the briefcase, and they need to make a decision soon. I honestly feel like, and it may suck for Damian Priest fans, I do feel like his cash-in is going to be a failed one. I do. I think Finn Balor may be the reason why, whenever he does cash in, I don't think they'll be tag champs, and I think Finn Balor will be the reason he's not successfully able to cash in a briefcase. Like, he'll cash it in, but Finn Balor may cost him. Now, we've seen teases of that, him trying to, and that almost happened. So I wish they would get back to that. I know they've been doing the comedy gimmick with R-Truth or whatever, but because of that, he doesn't give off the vibes of, oh yeah, when he's gonna cash in, he's gonna be, it makes sense for him to be a world champion. I can buy into him being a world champion. At one point, it seemed like that's the route they were going with, but it doesn't seem like that as of late. So y'all let me know down below. How do y'all feel about Damian Priest potentially cashing in? Do you think he's going to cash in successfully? Do you think it's going to be unsuccessful? Do you buy him as a potential world champion? Or do you feel like the WWE's kind of dropped the ball with him and you still don't see it yet? Y'all let me know down below. But I appreciate all the love, support, guys. Shout out on channel. Road to 150K. And I'm still your undisputed YouTube wrestling champ of the world. Appreciate y'all kicking in with me. See you on the next one. Peace.